Let's see. Here we are, guys. I realized that I don't know how to flip the camera now. Boo! How do I flip the camera? Is that... Oh, there we go. I figured it out. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. There we go. So, these are the books that I found here and here. Amazon, or FBA, eBay. Amazon, eBay. Are you getting dizzy? So the question I posed was, is it possible, or rather, is thrift store FBA book flipping still alive in 2018? Yes, it is. Is it as good as it used to be? No. However, I'm sure as I'm sure a lot of you have gotten better at and knowing what to send in, so you don't waste so much time on books that are it is really hot, guys. So this video is not going to be very long because I'm going to have to go jump into a pool or something. But definitely it has improved what I send in, so that I do not send in items that are basically going to sit around and probably not sell, or you know, start to incur too many fees, that type of thing. So I don't waste my time on books that I don't feel are going to sell pretty quickly. I like to sell things either immediately when they hit the warehouse or within a couple weeks. The ones that take a month or 2 months to sell, those ones either have a lot more profit and they're a little bit slower, so I don't mind waiting a couple months, or something went wrong on the listing and too many people sent in books, or other FBA sellers decided to tank the price, demand went away, but that doesn't happen too often. That's a pretty low percentage. So back to the point that yes, definitely there's still books to be found at thrift stores for flipping or reselling on Amazon FBA. So I found, let's see, let's do the counting here. And as of right now, if you're watching this later, I'm just talking to myself. Nobody has joined the video yet. So hopefully somebody will. If they don't, I'll just talk to the camera, and that's fine. So I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I found 14 books for, oh, there we go. Hello. Whoever has just showed up, thank you. I was talking to myself for about 3 minutes, but that's fine. I'm used to it. So 14 books I found for FBA, and then I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for eBay. Now, I actually did the numbers, and I spent a couple hours, and the reason it even took that long is because there was a lot of books to go through, and I wanted to make sure that I was pretty thorough. So the percentages are low when you go into a thrift store, typically, unless you happen to have an amazing thrift store where there's always high value, low cost books, or even if they're the high value, they might cost a little bit more. But regardless, it usually takes a little bit of time. So it took me a couple hours, and I did the math here, and based on the prices that I'm going to list them at, will be just under 200 bucks. The gross sales for all of them about $193. And then this is just FBA now, okay? And I spent a little over $20. I bought some other things for eBay as well that I'll talk about, but for the FBA stuff, definitely less than $20. I mean, I spent, because a lot of this stuff was 50, it was actually 50% off, plus there was a manager special of another 35%. So on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the FBA books, so half of them were 85% off. So that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, ridiculously good. Basically, and most of them were $1, so they were 15 cents. There was one that was $1.49, and that was 23 cents. Yeah. So the other ones were $1, and there were a couple. Well, there was a couple that were $1.49. There was one that was $3. But overall, it was $193 in gross sales, and then after cost of goods, after inbound shipping, and after all FBA fees, and this is assuming that it will sell within the first month. Now, not all of them will sell within the first month. I know that for a fact. There's at least a couple that will take a little bit longer, and one of those is the highest price one that I found. So the profits would be $69, so about $70. There's one here that is more of like it's not a textbook, but I believe it's more for school. And that one, the lowest FBA price is like $46 or something like that, and the lowest merchant fulfilled was like 22. So I'm not quite sure if it's going to sell at that higher price, that $46 or so. And then it even jumps up further from that to like 60 something. So I will kind of look at it when I list it a little bit more, and probably list it at the higher price because we have August come, July and August, and then beginning of September for back to school. So I'll probably list it at that higher price and see if it sells, and if it doesn't, I'll drop it. But that one might bring in some more money because I had it here at $39.99. But basically, about 2 hours, about $69 in profit. That's after everything sells. And as I'm sure you know, or maybe you don't if you're new, if you see these videos on YouTube or wherever, on Facebook or whatever it may be, and they're talking about, $1,000 profit, $500 profit, $100 profit in an hour, for books, right? In a thrift store, wherever it may be, and they might have done that. But you always have to consider that these are items that have to sell. So some of them will sell pretty much either the second they hit the warehouse, within a few days, within a few hours, maybe a week or two, and some will take a little bit longer. But this $70 is not going to come in immediately, but it'll trickle in. A good amount of it will come in right away within the first week or so, and the rest will kind of trickle in. And that's how you build the business. That's how you build your inventory so that you have a steady income. So that's not too bad. It's kind of brutal, the Amazon fees. It's pretty brutal these days, guys. But wherever you buy your items, I was glad that I was spending 15 cents for a lot of these books here, for 6 of them, and about 25 cents for another one. But having to spend $1, $1.50, or $3 for a book to flip versus getting it out of a Gaylord is a little bit more expensive. But you can, if you're not in bulk, don't have any interest in it, or haven't found a supplier, you can definitely still make money. Is that enough for one day to find 14 books for FBA and $70 in profit? If you're doing it, 4 or 5 days a week, probably not. You're probably gonna have to go to more than one thrift store. Some thrift stores will be better than others. This is probably like a good solid amount. These days, a couple years ago, I'd probably walk out of there with double this, or probably over 20 books easily. But those times have changed. There's less profit. There used to be books. There's books that I saw today that I would have bought probably about 1.5 years ago or 2 years ago, before the FBA fees went up dramatically last year, February of last year. Or no, was that this year? No, it was last year. It's been kind of a whirlwind with all the changes. But basically, those are books that I would send in, and they would sell really quickly. And those kind of books you have to pass on these days, unless you're pulling them out of a Gaylord and you're basically paying like a nickel for them, a couple pennies or whatever, 10 cents, and you can make $1.50 or whatever off of it. But it depends on your model. So that was for FBA, and then I also found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I found 8 books for eBay, which is not something I used to do. So you might think I'm crazy. Why would I spend $1 on Rich Dad Poor Dad books? And then I got these Mormon books. There's 3 of them. Mormon Doctrine, and then these here. And then there's this one. It's in Spanish, but it's, let's see, let me show you. it's the same. It says Padre Rico. It's Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it's in Spanish. And then it says the prologue from Robert Kiyosaki. So this is one that doesn't sell for a lot of money on eBay, but it cost me 15 cents. And I can probably list it for about around $9. It's not one that's going to sell super quick, but the profit is good, about $5 off of 15 cents, unless I have to lower the price a little bit. But still, even if I make like $4, it's worth it. These two are like some sort of Mormon lectures, and I saw them. They're being sold for one book. It's around $13 or $14, but I found two of them. They don't sell very often, but I'm going to package them together and list it for $19.95 or so. Put a or what do you call it? Have it sit for a bit, and if it doesn't sell, within a month or two, I'll lower the price. But those are some of the things that I have on eBay that take some time. I found 10 of these. I can't remember the name of them, but they doesn't matter. I found 10 books in pristine condition a couple of months ago at a bag sale, which is a library bag sale where $2 for a bag. You can fill the big plastic bag, and I got 10 of them. They were pristine condition, some sort of religious fiction, and they're from a series. There's like 30 of them, but I had 10 of them, listed them, and sold them for. Now remember, I fit all of them into a bag that I spent $2 on. I put other stuff in the bag as well, so it cost less than $2, and they sold for $35. And plus shipping, they paid for shipping, so I made like $30 or so off of that deal. So those are the kind of things I'm talking about for eBay that I didn't know about before. Now, when it comes to so that first book is about $5 of profit. Those other Mormon books are, if it sells for, it'll probably be like over $10 in profit. Even if it takes me months to sell it, I'll still make the money. And those only cost me, those were half off, both of them. So 85% off. So those were like 50 cents or so for both of those. And then I got another one, which when I saw it, it stood out to me because of how old it is, called Mormon Doctrine by this guy, Bruce, who apparently is the man in this kind of stuff. And I looked him up on eBay, and they're selling, this is from 1979, I believe, 26th edition. Let's see. Whoa. 1979, yeah, 26th printing. Can't really see that. And this one lists for about $14.99. Again, it was 85% off. It was $1.49, but it's like a quarter for this book. My profit's going to be $9 to $10, so that's already about $25 right there from eBay. And then there is the Rich Dad stuff. So I found 4 Rich Dad Poor Dad books. And when I used to see these in the past, when I would pull them out of a Gaylord or I would see them at a book sale or whatever, I would just fly past them because I didn't feel that they had any worth. But it turns out that on eBay they do if you sell them in lots, especially if you do 5 or more. It looks like if you do about 6 or 7, you can get over $30 for them. So I have 4 here. They're all different. Real Estate Riches, the ABCs of Real Estate Investing, Cash Flow Quadrant, and the original Rich Dad Poor Dad. However, I already had 2 others in my storage unit that I had. This one I had found at that book sale 2 months ago that I got for nothing. I mean, put it into a bag with a bunch of other books that I spent $2 on. So, I don't know, 10 cents or whatever. So Prophecy, Rich Dad's Prophecy. That's another one. So that's 5 books. And then this one I also found, I believe, at the same book sale. Why We Want You to Be Rich. You can see who's on there. And I looked up, there's one that sold, that had the same book that had 7 books, and it sold for like over $50. And I don't know if it was because of this book or the others, but this is 6 total books here. I'm going to list all 6 of these for around like $40. buy it now and let it sit and see if I can sell it at that price. If not, I'm pretty confident I can, but if I sell it at that, it'll probably be between like $25, $30 in profit. And again, I didn't really spend much money at all on these, and I'm $4 in on that one. So that is about, from the eBay stuff, where was I? That's about $50. So if you add that to the $70, it was about, my math is 70 plus 50, so that's $120. So not too bad for a couple hours. And I really believe that now that the fees are so high and long-term storage fees are coming in and all the changes with with Amazon, that it's important to branch out into other things with books, especially if you want to stick with books. You can continue to sell books. You don't have to diversify your products if you don't want to. But it's really important to also try out eBay and find out what sells on eBay. Certain individual titles sell really well on eBay, like the older stuff. So a lot of older stuff does, but you have to kind of figure out which ones do, which ones don't. A lot of different lots sell. So definitely about 100, and eventually when everything sells, it'll be about $120 in profit. So not bad for a couple hours. And that's just stuff I'm going to put on top of, I'm going to go to book sale tomorrow. I'll make a video about that next week. We'll see how that goes. So with today, with 14 books for FBA, hopefully tomorrow I'll get more than 20. Excuse me, more than 20. I'd want to shoot for about 30. That would be worth my time. Double what I got today would be really great. So we'll see. Michael asks, are you still selling solo, or did you get an assistant to help you? I'm still solo. I have some things that I want to... I'm kind of saving up money and want to use some of the money to pay off some things. And once I do that, then I'll consider again someone helping me out. Because I would say I have so much stuff for eBay that I need somebody to list on eBay if I really want to make a lot more money. But it's a challenge, to find somebody and to pay them. You have to pay them. But the good thing about eBay is, they start working for a couple weeks. I start paying them. Money starts coming in right away. Amazon, you got to wait 2 weeks to get paid. At least I do. At least with eBay, I can turn around and, or I can have some money coming in. But no, just by myself for now. Basically, if you do Gaylords by yourself, it's a lot of work. It's tough. And it's not really the finding the FBA stuff that's tough. It's dealing with everything else. So it's hard to just get rid of things that I can sell on eBay, but it's hard to find the time, which is why I have all this backup here of DVDs, which I can't sell on Amazon, and all the CDs that I can't make money on with FBA. So yeah, that's basically it. Whew. It's hot, guys. So I would say, kind of my theme for the video is, is there money to go to Thrift, or is there still money in 2018? When I was making videos back in 2016, there was so much more profit in an individual book, in a $10 book, than there is now, depending on the size, of course. A normal paperback, let's say, they've shaved off some money there. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But I'll get back to that. Let me see your question. Michael, when it comes to the Prime Day, I haven't seen a big bump in sales for me. I think a couple years ago I saw a little bit more sales, but for me it's just about sending in as much as I can consistently. My sales have been strong lately because the past month and a half I've sent in about 2 months. The last 2 months I've sent in probably like 800 mostly CDs and some books, but mostly CDs to Amazon. And so I've seen some really great sales, even though it's summer. People are still buying CDs, and Prime Day might give me a boost. I don't know, but hopefully it does. But it hasn't in the past. For the things that I sell, which are CDs and books, I haven't really seen a big deal or a big difference. But we'll see. We'll see if eBay does anything more, or if because of Prime Day, if there's more people going to eBay, or if that'll increase sales on there. That'll be interesting. I did notice that about half of May and all of June, eBay was really slow for me, and it was weird. The 4th of July, the week of 4th of July, suddenly sales just picked up. That weekend before, and then the weekend after, and since then my eBay sales have gone back to where they were, which is not a ton a day, but it was steady, because for June I was basically like hardly making any sales. But anyway, I thought that was kind of fascinating, considering that I didn't have very many things up for sale on eBay last summer. So now I have like over 400 items, so I can kind of see what happens. Anyway, let's see. So we had a hey from Robert. How's it doing, Robert? Good to see you. How are you doing? Michael said, I really dread the holidays as there always seems to be drop in sales on the 4th. Oh, yeah. Michael, do you just do books on through FBA, or do you do other items, or do you sell eBay, or only? I'd be curious to know, Robert, if yes, only FBA and books? Okay. That's where I was when I started in September of, 2014, guys. I'm like an old timer now. This September will be not only my birthday, but it will mark the 4th year, or starting the 4th year of doing FBA. In September, I sent in my very first shipment. I wish I could go back to myself then and take out about 90% of the books that I sent in, because they were not. I was sending in books that were ranked in the millions, thinking they were going to sell. So if you're new, really, really work on what you send in. Yeah, my FBA birthday, basically. Yeah, I remember it, September. I don't really remember the day, but yeah, it's crazy. I started with just books for the first probably year and a half or so, and then I started to dabble in VHS tapes, and then I got into CDs, thankfully. I also did a good amount of vinyl one of those years, one of those holidays. I sold a lot of vinyl, and I've kind of stuck with CDs and now, books as well. But anyway, Robert, I remember last time, I think it was the last live stream I did, you were looking for somebody to help you. Did you find that person? Just curious. Michael says, I was going to diversify, but last year, whoops. Ugh. I can't figure out this friggin' chat. I was going to diversify, but last year found a thrift that gives me 10-cent books and first crack at them in exchange for shelving them. Definitely worth it, as they get textbooks and other good ones. Cool. So did you just talk to the manager or owner, and like, did you go there for a while, and then over time they got to know you, kind of a thing, or did you just walk in the first time and were like, hey, I'm curious if if you guys have excess books, or I'd love to go through them, and da-da-da-da. Because yeah, there's a lot of thrift stores around where I live, and I haven't really. Let's see. Sweet talk the manager, as they are constantly understaffed. I see. Well, sweet talking works for sure. Probably some donuts and food as well. But yeah, understand. It's funny because some of the thrift stores, it's like they're so busy, they have so many people working there, and then other ones, they seem to just like, there's like 1 or 2 people working there, and they can't keep up with it. It just depends on the store. Yeah, Starbucks. It's funny what food does, right? If you just feed people, or Bring him some cookies or whatever. Robert says, I have someone part-time who is stickering for FBA for now. I'm moving them into other parts of the process. Already stickered over 4,000 books without complaining. Wow. So how part-time is it? Is it every day during the week, or is it like a couple days? So stickering. So that's literally all they do is they just sticker. They don't actually do the listing. That is definitely like easing them into it. That's crazy, but that's good. That's great that you're getting help, because any help, I mean, 4,000 books, that's, I'm sure while they're stickering, you're pulling more books out of the Gaylords or whatever. What do you call it? I told the other day that I made a connection, well, a thin connection, but with a local thrift, because they picked up some Gaylords from me. We'll see if that leads to anything, but I don't know. A chunk, you mean, a chunk of your time, you mean? As in, like, it frees you up? Yeah, I would imagine. I would say that in terms of FBA, the part that okay. Yeah, listing is definitely more involved. Do you get, oh, you don't get splits though, right? Because you do pallets. Is that right? You do like 1,000 books or whatever on a pallet. 2 listing sessions. Dang. You know, I saw this thing from Caleb Roth, or Caleb Roth talking about saying that there might be some, or he feels that where you ship from, okay, that where you ship from might have a lot to do with whether or not you get splits, as in if you're like, because you have a warehouse, so there's like a loading dock. He said that might have something to do with it, that you can change your home address from your home to a business that has a loading dock. It might make a difference. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Also, I guess where you live, as in what part of the country. But I continued to get splits. I did, this Monday, I shipped out 300 items, which were mostly CDs, and I got 8 splits that I accepted, 8 warehouses, and it cost $60, which was like 20 cents an item. I don't know. I've figured out ways to deal with it to not go too crazy, but anyway. So Michael says hardest thing is data entry, yeah, which is a listing, and oh yeah, and listing after sourcing as you feel drained. Just hired assistant, but hard to give up some control. Michael, are they doing it at their house, at your house? How do you have that set up? You've been on vacation for 17 days. Oh, cool. That's cool. You get some time off. The great thing about it, about FBA, one of the things is that money keeps coming in, right? So even though you took 17 days off, you still had sales and. Oh, at your house. Okay. Yeah, because what I was thinking for an assistant for listing was that maybe I would train them at my house or even at like a Starbucks or whatever, um, and then it would get to the point where they were good at it, and I could. This would be either eBay and or Amazon, but that where I would bring the items to them, and then they would list at home. If it was Amazon, then they would box it up and send it out. Of course, if it was eBay, I'd have to come and get it, or they'd have to come bring it back to me. But yeah. Yeah, I agree, Robert. I mean, I don't have nearly the size of inventory you have, I'm sure, but or nowhere close. But my inventory is right around 1,000 right now. When those 300 get there, it'll be 1,300 or so. Or I mean, I'm selling now, but yeah, sales have been really good for me for CDs. I mean, clearly they're. I have some books, so books are selling as well. But yeah, sales have been great. It's funny that what is that statistic now that Amazon uses on the Seller Central? That number you have to be over 300 something. What is it called? Anyway, you know what that number is, right? That number they use now that you can get in trouble for if it goes too low. Mine went up. Yeah, mine went up like it was like 580, which I guess is good, but then it jumped up to like 614 now. My assumption is inventory performance index, yeah, is because the only difference in my FBA business was that I started sending in a lot more consistently in a lot more inventory, so that jumped up. And I don't even know if that has anything to do with my sales doing well. Yeah. Yeah, I find that if I focus on I mean, I've done this recently, focus on sending in consistent amounts of or the more consistent I am with FBA shipments, uh, the more sales I make and the less problems I have. There's always going to be issues. There's going to be something broken, something lost, somebody returned something, whatever. But it seems that Amazon likes when I send in stuff that sells, that doesn't sit around too long, and it actually sells. They make their money, I make my money. They receive the items, get them out pretty quick. I think they like that. That's my theory anyway. So I would suggest to any new sellers that you build up your inventory, but you don't go too crazy. That you send in quality stuff, and quality for me is fast selling with profits. Um, if you have a book you feel is going to take 6 to 12 months, it better be a ton of profit in there, and you better know your numbers because starting next month, every single month, all of your items in storage that are there for longer, for 6 months or to 12 months, or what am I saying? 6 months and older are going to get dinged with the long-term storage fee, and that's going to add up. If you have a book in there who you think you're going to make like 20, 30 bucks off of profit, but then it just keeps sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And yeah, it's not that much if you're going to make like a fair amount of money off of it, but it's got to be aware of that stuff. Okay, what? Oh, shoot. So you're using ScanLister. I'm using AccelerList. So here's my thing. I hear people, they say, oh, I do private mode versus live because then I don't get splits or I get less splits. But then if you don't do that, the printer doesn't print out the labels or my Dymo, right? So once then I go in to Amazon Central, I'm going to have to do the 30 up labels. Isn't that correct? That's my whole thing with trying the private mode, that I can't. I like being able to just get the sticker and just sticker them right away. But of course, I'm not the most up on how everything works here technologically. I just kind of do what. So this is in what is it called? Private mode. So is that also the same with AccelerList? Or I guess you don't use AccelerList. I don't know. But at any rate, I guess it can be another video for that. But yeah, guys, I'm glad you came, Robert. Glad you showed up. I know you've been away, getting back into the swing of things. It's nice to take a break. Okay. So, but with Acceler List, so you're not sure if with Acceler List in private mode, because I don't think you can. You can just print it out. I mean, I would try private if I would get less splits. I just don't want to then have to hassle with the stickering process after everything is listed, because I like to just, you know, list it and then sticker it, put it in the stack. I don't know. But these split shipments, it's not so bad to where, you know, I'm going to stop doing FBA. I know a lot of people, I've read a lot of people that have stopped. Some people have done it way longer than me and are now just doing merchant fulfilled or eBay. And that's just crazy, because the whole point of FBA, I mean, one of the biggest points of FBA is so that they do so much of the work for us. And we don't have to deal with it. And we hand over a big chunk of the profit. But, you know, if there's enough profit built in there, it's still going to be a good deal. So I found a potential new source. Oh, well, here we go. They can scan in faster since it's a desktop app, stacking order. Wow. That's crazy. 2,000 books. Wow. Well, think about it, Robert. I mean, you're doing that kind of quantity, and you have an assistant that's working with you. Imagine, you know, in a few months, even if you get this person to be able to do the whole listing process and frees you up from listing. And if they're like, although, how many hours a week do you think? How many hours a week do you think you spend on listing? The whole listing stickering, boxing, shipping. I mean, is it like most of your time? Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. Is it half of the time, and the other half is sorting the Gaylords, scanning, and that sort of thing? Because for me, I mean, when it comes to Gaylords, with a CD Gaylord of CDs, I could sort it, not scan it, but sort it within about 3 hours by myself. And then I could scan it. If I had all day, like 8 hours, I could probably scan the whole thing. I haven't done a book Gaylord in a little while, so I don't know exactly how long it would take me by myself to go through it. But I could probably do it in a day. So, it takes 2 days through ScanLister for 2,000 books. Is that what you said? Or you're saying if you use Amazon or, you know, Seller Central? But yeah, if I want to ramp this up a lot and get to Robert's level, that's the thing. It's like having access. Okay, oh, I see. 2 days to. Oh, for one Gaylord? I'm sorry. Are you saying one Gaylord, or are you saying getting up to 2,000 books? 2 days to sort, grade, list, and box. And that is for 2,000 books? Or is that for a certain amount of Gaylords? Or... But I mean, you're working a lot more hours than I am, that's for sure. And so, how many Gaylords do you have to go through to get 2,000 books? Really? So you find 2 pallets? Wait, 2 Gaylords? I'm sorry. You get 2,000 books for FBA out of 2 Gaylords? That doesn't make sense. Oh, sorry, sorry. 2 pallets. So how many Gaylords do you go through? To get to that? I mean, is that like, let's see. For me, I would probably, well, for CDs, it's like 10%, but books are probably less. I guess it would vary. My guess would be 5 to 10% of a Gaylord of books would be good for Amazon. I mean, when I was doing more of the book Gaylords, I was getting like, yeah, 5 to 10%, probably lower than 10, less than 10%. It would just vary. Some Gaylords would produce more. Some, I mean, I got like 100 books out of one Gaylord, but most of them were less than 100 books. But at any rate, so let's see. This has turned into a longer video than I thought, but I have to take off. I have some things to do. And I appreciate all you guys hanging in there, watching the video. Oh, jeez. Wait, in 2 days you go through 40 Gaylords by yourself? So 20 Gaylords a day? I don't even understand how you're doing that. Oh my God. Oh, I see. So it takes you, what, a week or so to get the 2K and then 2 days to list? Yeah, I'm a little bit tired, but, and it's the heat too. The heat has just drained me today. It's like I can't go outside without just getting drenched in sweat. It's ridiculous. But at any rate, I think that's it, guys, for today. I think I'm a little too tired, a little too out of it, and I'm glad you guys tuned in. If you're newer to reselling, hopefully you learned something from this. Hopefully you know that if you're just starting out, or even if you're pretty new, like less than a year, and you're doing it by yourself like I was, well, I'm still doing it by myself, but what I mean is if you're out there sourcing at the normal spots like thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, library book sales, that type of stuff, there's still money to be made. You just have to look through more books, which means you have to get better at scanning and knowing what is worth looking up, that type of thing. Not every single book is worth scanning or worth looking up. So you have to kind of build that database in your head and get that experience. And that takes time, but you can do that within like 3 or 6 months or so, depending on how often. If you're going out there to source a lot, which is what I was in the beginning, if you can if you can source like 4 or 5 days a week, and I don't mean all day, I mean even just a couple hours. If you can get through, if you can scan 1,000 books a week or whatever or more, you know, in 3 or 4 months, you're going to be much more knowledgeable, and you'll know what is worth looking up and what looks like it could be a book that has some value in it. And then if you want to dabble in eBay as well, it's another one for the lots and certain individual books. But yeah, hopefully you guys learned something, and hopefully it'll help you, and you can go to some book sales or estate sales or garage sales this weekend. Tomorrow, I plan on going to a book sale that I went to a couple months ago. It's going to be the first day, so it's not a bag sale, so they'll have the normal price, I believe $1 for hardbacks and 50 cents for paperbacks, if I remember correctly. It's a pretty, and it's not a huge sale. I mean, it's large in terms of like 10,000 books. It's not like one of those massive ones, but the place is pretty packed, or it's pretty constricting in there. There's not much room, which kind of sucks, but I'm going to try it out. I haven't done that in a while. I'm going to shoot for 30 plus books. We'll see how it goes. So I'll talk about that. Next week, I'm going to visit a new potential source for Gaylords. The guy said he didn't have too many books, but he does have mixed media Gaylords, which he said is mostly DVDs, but has CDs and other discs in there, audiobooks and whatnot. So it's probably the typical kind of ones that I've bought before. This guy is really close to where I live, like super close, like 10 minutes away or less. I can just drive down the street to get there. He said, I talked to him today, that because I'm so close, I'm sure he has other people that he that are coming from far away, or that he's not willing to deliver to. But he said because it's so close, he might be able to work out something where he can deliver it, because I don't have a truck. I do have a pallet jack, but I don't have a truck. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to take a look at what he has and see if it looks good, and maybe it could be a new relationship I can build there. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Remember, if you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe to my channel, and make sure that you get the alerts when I go live, when my videos go up. For now, they're just live videos, but which has been fun. So that you get the alert, and you can tune in. If you're watching this later in the future, thanks for watching. Too bad you weren't able to come to the live stream, but hopefully as the channel grows, more of you will be able to tune in. I would like this to, I want to have themes, but also I want to answer questions or learn from you guys. You guys learn from me, that kind of thing. So thanks for tuning in, and good luck with what you're doing today or tomorrow or this weekend in regards to reselling. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week. I won't make a video over the weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Take care, guys.